Hi, welcome to MooMooMath. Today we are going to learn how to graph y equals tangent x, which is the parent graph for the tangent function. So what I've got here is I've got a unit circle and I've got a table of values we're going to fill out, and then I've got an x and y axis to get all this graphed. So first what we need to do is come up with the values for tangent, and I'm going to use the interval negative pi halves to positive pi halves because that is the easiest way to graph one full cycle of tangent. Now tangent, if you remember, tangent is the ratio of sine over cosine. So we know on the unit circle all the y values are the sine values, and all the x values are the cosine values. So I'm going to write that ratio. So we have this ordered pair at 3 pi halves, which we also know as negative pi halves. That is the same position on the unit circle, and that would give us the ratio of -1 over 0. Well, we know that as undefined. That is an undefined value. Then at 7 pi halves, which we know as negative pi fourths, 7 pi fourths is negative pi fourths. That's also the same position. We have the square root of 2 over 2 and negative square root of 2 over 2. So when I write that ratio, sine over cosine, I have the negative square root of 2 over 2 divided by the positive square root of 2 over 2. And that just gives us 1. So that means the tangent at negative pi fourths is 1. Now, when we go up here to the angle that's 0 degrees, which is also 0 radians, we're going to write 0 divided by 1. Well, 0 divided by any value is just 0. And then at 45 degrees, which is also pi fourths, we're going to have the ratio of the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. That's just 1. And then up here at positive pi halves, we have 1 divided by 0, and you can't divide by 0, so that is also undefined. So those are the values of tangent. So I'm going to just fill that out in our table. So at 0, we are at 0. At pi fourths, we are at 1, and at pi halves, we're undefined. Now, looking in the opposite direction, you can fill out the table. I'll just make a negative pi fourths over here. At negative pi fourths, we're at -1. And at negative pi halves, we're at undefined again. Okay, so what happens at the positions where it's undefined? Well, that means we have asymptotes. So I'm going to go in and draw some asymptotes at negative pi halves and positive pi halves. So that's where our asymptotes lie. Now, the easiest point to graph is, of course, this position right here, 0, 0. We're going through the origin. Then at positive pi fourths, we're at 1. And at negative pi fourths, we are at -1. And then what happens is as we get closer to these asymptotes, these values of tangent get larger. And as we go to 0, the values of tangent get smaller. So what's going to happen is we're going to have, from the origin, we're going to go up through the value at pi fourths 1, and we're going to get larger and approach the asymptote. And in the negative direction, we're going to go through negative pi fourths -1, and we're going to get closer and closer to the asymptote in the negative direction. And that's basically the graph of the parent function of tangent. So that's how you graph it. So I hope this video is helpful. I do want to show you that the period, which is one cycle, a period for tangent is just the distance of pi, because we're going from negative pi fourths to positive pi fourths. So the period, one full period, is the length of pi, and then it will just repeat from there. Hope this video is helpful, and thank you for watching MooMooMath.